Every night, over 50% of people worldwide are haunted by nightmares. Have you ever wondered what your darkest dreams reveal about you? What if those terrors aren't random, but messages from the deepest corners of your mind? Tonight, we descend into the shadows within to confront hidden nightmares, where fears and memories weave into something far more terrifying than anything outside us. The truth, sometimes the monster isn't under the bed, it's inside your head. Here's a question for you, a riddle whispered in the dark. Why does the creature in your closet seem scarier than any beast in the daylight? Why do the phantoms that plague your sleep feel more real than some waking hours? Why do certain dreams leave you breathless, drenched in a cold sweat, as though the specter of death has brushed against your soul? Why does the line between wakefulness and slumber blur when the face of fear stares back at you from the abyss? If you're like most, you've probably shrugged off such nocturnal chills as mere bad dreams, figments of an overactive imagination, or perhaps a plot twist to many in the latest horror flick. But what if those terrors are trying to tell you something important? What if your nightmares aren't random, but rather a cryptic language, a code to be deciphered? What if your sleeping mind is trying to show you something crucial about yourself, about your life? It sounds far-fetched, I know, but bear with me. Nightmares aren't just frightening dreams. They're echoes of our deepest fears, traumas, and unresolved conflicts, like ripples spreading across a pond. They disturb the surface of our waking lives, too. Research shows that recurring nightmares of falling, drowning, being chased, or trapped are not random. They're mirrors held up to facets of ourselves that we find unsettling in waking life. For some, these nightly terrors don't stay confined to the land of Nod, they bleed into the day, leaving anxiety, sleepless nights, and a mind always on edge. So let us pull back the curtain on our inner psyches and explore what these hidden horrors may be trying to reveal. Let's start with the basics. Why do we have nightmares? What purpose do they serve? Psychologists believe nightmares are the subconscious mind's way of sounding alarms, of grabbing our attention to unresolved issues we may be ignoring in our waking lives. They manifest our deepest fears and buried emotions, whether it's fear of failure, unresolved guilt, grief, or even physical stress. Nightmares transform these feelings into grotesque dreamscapes, allowing our subconscious to express what our conscious minds may be suppressing. But why do some nightmares repeat night after night, haunting us relentlessly? These recurring nightmares often delve into archetypal fears like losing control, being powerless, or being overwhelmed. Take, for example, the common nightmare of being chased. It doesn't always signify a literal fear of someone trying to harm us. Instead, it often points to a feeling of being pursued by responsibilities, obligations, or even emotions that we're trying to avoid in our waking lives. Similarly, dreams of falling may not be about a fear of heights, but rather a feeling of losing stability or direction. But here's the paradox. What terrifies us most can also set us free. Studies show that confronting nightmares head-on can be transformative. By facing our fears and resolving the underlying issues through therapy, journaling, or even lucid dreaming, we can weaken the hold they have over us. It's like turning down the volume on a persistent alarm. Imagine, for instance, that you're plagued by a recurring nightmare of being trapped in a crumbling house. This could symbolize feelings of instability or lack of control in your waking life, perhaps a fear of your living situation changing, or a worry about financial troubles. Instead of letting the nightmare dictate your emotions, you decide to confront it. Through therapy, you explore the emotions tied to this drain, uncovering repressed feelings of grief over a recent move or anxiety about job security. As you resolve these issues, the nightmare loses its power and may cease altogether or transform into something less disturbing. And I know this might sound scary, delving into the darkest recesses of our minds, but you're not alone in this journey. There are tools, therapies, and techniques to help you navigate these hidden nightmares and turn their terror into triumph. Some nightmares may never make sense. Some mysteries may never be solved. But here's the beauty, the hope, the resilience of the human spirit. We can choose to turn our nightmares into strengths. We can choose to listen to the whispers of our subconscious and use them as guides, not jailers. So the next time you wake up in a cold sweat bathed in the silver glow of the moon, remember, your nightmare may not be there to break you, but to guide you. The question is, are you brave enough to listen? Now it's your turn. What's the scariest dream you've ever had? Share your own hidden nightmares in the comments below. Who knows, you might find solace in knowing you're not alone in the darkness. That we're all navigating our own inner labyrinths. Your story might be the missing piece to someone else's puzzle, the shared nightmare that binds us, that reminds us we're all travelers in this world, journeying through the shadows and seeking the light together.